Smoked paprika is lovely when you want to create a barbecue vibe, but for this, I don't want it because it is actually quite strong. Paprika itself is just red pepper, essentially. We want all these spices to play together as a team.
Hello everyone, I am Malika Basu, and in our new series, we are throwing open the doors of spice cupboards with exciting cooks and the best flavor thinkers in food today. From Persian-inspired kitchens to Indian tables, we're going to bring you the stories, the memories, and the secret cooking tips that is going to transform the way you look at the world of spices. Now, today I have with me the brilliant Sabrina Ghayour. Hello, Sabrina.
Hello, my lovely. How are you?
Lovely to have you here. Very good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Well, we're delighted to have you. Sabrina, for those of you who don't know, is a brilliant chef, a best-selling cookbook author. Am I right to say that?
Yeah, but my head's going to swell.
Yeah, and also there are spices running through your veins, aren't there, pretty much?
There really are. And actually, just moreover, I love how creatively you can use spices to do different things.
Love it. So today we are cooking together an aubergine ragu, rich, comforting. It's got a fantastic blend of spices, hasn't it?
Yep.
And I think it's really going to be interesting for you to see how you get those spices working together. So shall we go?
Yep. So basically, I have a selection of spices here. They're ones that I just really love, and I think they work particularly well with the aubergines. So I've got salt and pepper, my foundation of good flavour for everything. I've got paprika, not smoked paprika, just your normal paprika. I've got garlic granules, I'll tell you why later. Fennel seeds, ground cumin, I've got some oregano, and I've got a little bit of cinnamon. And then I have these aubergines, which I'm just going to chop and dice, and I'm going to bathe them in a mixture of these spices along with some olive oil.
I can almost smell it already. It's going to be so fragrant, isn't it?
With that combination. Delicious, but also, especially in dishes where maybe you're not going to have meat, whether you eat meat or not. You know, I do eat meat.
Very much so.
But spices are really what hit that satisfaction level because they give real character and dimension to the ingredients that you're using. That's part of what helps satisfy us, no matter what your dietary preferences are. So it's a winner with spices combined with aubergines because they just work really well together. So first things first, I'm going to take as little of the top off as I can because we want to use as much of the aubergines, but we don't want any of the sort of firm green bits. There we go. And I'm going to cut the edges off. Now, traditionally, I said this earlier, actually.
Yes.
Persian culture, we will totally peel the aubergines, but that's just a Persian preference.
Sure, sure. Cinnamon is in savory food. Like, that's quite Persian too, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, it's one of the very few spices that we do use. We're not sort of big spice people in Iran, I'll be honest, but we do have cumin seeds and we use cinnamon, and we have like saffron, or obviously the largest producer of saffron in the world. So
yes, of course.
We do have uses for spice, but very subtly. But cinnamon is one, it's a very background thing. It's in a couple of different dishes and you wouldn't know it's there, but it's better for having it there. And I think that's what successful spice use really looks like. So I'm just basically cutting these into cubes.
Lovely.
Don't stress it. The biggest and the best tip I can give you is to make sure that they're roughly all the same size.
I can get chopping some as well.
Lovely.
So let's do that.
That'll be really, really handy. But also what I really love about this particular dish is you can use it in so many different ways, and it's entirely up to you because you can throw it over pasta, which is a really Western thing, almost like a Sicilian thing. The Sicilians love pasta with aubergines. Or you can have it just with a bit of bread or a piece of naan, or serve it with rice, or freeze it, make it part of a dish, or, you know, fill a pie, do whatever you like with it. So,
and the texture's really meaty, isn't it? Aubergine does have a little bite. And
I always sort of think of aubergine as like the meat of the Middle East, if you will, in the vegetable world, so to speak. But you have to know how to, I know you know, but we understand you have to cook an aubergine properly. You can't.
You really do.
You can't just sweat it in a pan. If the aubergine flesh is grey and tough, it's not properly cooked and it's not going to be enjoyable.
It really isn't. I'm interested that you're not salting the aubergines beforehand. I mean, do you bother with that? What's your view on that?
So I think in the Western world, we're really lost on why we salt aubergines. So the original thought behind salting aubergines usually was that they had bitter juices. They don't have bitter juices anymore.
No.
However, if you're making something, let's say like an aubergine parmigiana, you do want to salt your aubergines, or if you're frying them, because it will remove the water mass.
Very much so.
The great thing about this particular recipe is that because we are cooking it in an oven with a fan, it's actually drying out the moisture of the aubergines.
So right.
So double bubble, you don't have to fry it. It's nice and easy, and you don't have to salt them and let them sit and dry. But
You want me to chop the last aubergine?
yeah, why not? And
Shall
then
I do
I'll
that
get
while you're doing
started. Thank you.
Not at all.
Not used to having help. Really appreciate
I'm
that.
here to help you. Listen, not just chatting, although I can chat forever
True
too.
soul sister. Thank you so much.
Tell me a little bit about your spice cupboard. So what are your essential spices? Like kind of, you're taking them with you to your grave, etc.
For me, I am very much a salt and pepper girl, but I also love chili. Like I do love chili, and I think salt, pepper, and chili. What else do you need?
No, you
like
really
on a
don't
desert
need
island,
anything.
you
No.
really don't
Love
need
it.
that much else.
Any specific chili? What's your favorite kind of chili?
I like chili flakes. I like strong chili. I do like pul biber as well, which is like a
biber is
Aleppo pepper. It's a
great.
milder flake, but
lovely.
I want a big hit of chili. But that's a personal preference, and it's often harder to control, isn't it? So
It is, definitely.
So yeah, I try and steer myself towards the spicy stuff, but sometimes I have to dial things down. Like today, we're going to use harissa in the sauce, which is a great source of chili. It's really handy. I'd probably put more in there. But
You have to tone it down
I have
a
to
bit.
factor in that we're feeding more people than just me and my greedy preference.
100%. Because you, of course, there are young uns in your family, aren't there? So you have
They
to
love
make
spice.
it. Do they?
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear this.
I think I would actually be wholly upset, like if they didn't.
If they didn't.
Yeah, I'm like, kids to be proud of. Okay.
Yeah, we
they're
like
like
kids
spice.
to be proud
but the
of.
God's honest truth is not everybody does.
No,
and that's fair
fine.
play.
And that's fine too, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So chili, that's really, really fascinating. And what would you recommend to people when it comes to buying spices? Do you have any top tips?
I know South Asian you is going to say keep your spices fresh.
I'm not going to judge, I promise.
I know. So I have to say, I will respectfully swerve South Asian cooking because I understand that there are different rules for different cuisines.
Don't worry about that.
My Western me thinks with a slightly different head and is just like, as long as you can keep your spices in a cool, dark, sealed, airtight container in the cupboard. And if when you open that jar, your nose immediately gets a hit, it's probably okay.
Can I please admit that that is how I keep my spices? And
yes,
I don't
you can, because you just made me feel so much better now
I do
you
not
said
grind them
that.
fresh, guys. I mean, it would be lovely to have another 24 hours in the day, but I'm sorry, when you're busy and
You've
you've got family.
literally shot up in my estimation
Okay,
so
this is
much
good.
more
This is
because I
good.
feel like so much better about myself.
Tell us
now.
what you're doing here. You've mixed them all together, which is interesting.
So I find that like you can do, you don't have to do it, but then that means that, when I sort of bathe this, you can actually mix it into an oily paste. But sometimes I find that human nature means that we'll end up using more oil than we need.
Interesting.
So I like to just oil the aubergines. And then if I mix the spices together, then it's evenly blended. I don't have like one cluster of paprika
Love
and
that.
one cluster of, something else. But I would just say, just do what feels easy and gets the job done. Like once you put them in their sauce, it will all leach into the sauce anyway.
Sure. Love this.
Oil.
And we're just going for some olive oil here.
Olive oil, vegetable oil, good old British rapeseed oil, which is vegetable oil anyway, but use what you've got. Just don't use extra virgin or like extra virgin rapeseed or anything because that just dies in the oven. You want something that's just like a good cooking oil, so nice and simple.
Lovely.
And then Food needs your hands.
Hands,
Yeah,
let's go.
hands.
See, this is the best way to mix things together.
I'm going to put more oil because I have to say, I know it looks like a lot but we're also doing a massive amount here, which is, this is a eat some now, have some later type tip. So it really needs to be coated like,
I think,
because they're like little sponges, aren't they?
They are like little sponges. And actually, funny you mentioned sponges, because I was going to say that aubergines are absolute sponges for spices and flavor generally.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how they work, don't they? They just
100%.
absorb everything.
I mean, even when you're frying, I think people are like, oh my gosh, that's quite a lot of oil to fry the aubergines in. I'm like, an aubergine is like a sponge. Literally, when that sponge is full of liquid or oil, it will excrete whatever it's not using. It will blot out on paper But the God's honest truth is, it's £3 for a bottle of oil these days, and the house smells, and it can be quite time-consuming to correctly fry aubergines. So this is like lazy me loves this.
Okay, this is
and then just like really
amazing.
just work them in there.
Right, lovely.
They become this lovely golden color, mostly because of the paprika. Even if you missed one of these spices because you didn't have it, like, leave it out.
Now, another question for you is, I noticed you used paprika and not smoked paprika.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So for me, smoked paprika is lovely when you want to create a barbecue vibe in non-Spanish recipes. But for me, smoked paprika or pimentón is Spanish ingredient. We do not use it.
No, sure.
But I have used it in cooking where I want a smoky vibe, because it's actually sometimes when you're making, especially plant-based food, it gives you that smoky satisfaction vibe. But for this, I don't want it because it is actually quite strong. Like a couple of teaspoons of smoked paprika would be quite a lot, and it would be the dominant vibe that would take over. So paprika itself is just red pepper, essentially dried and ground down, and it's a lot more friendly as we want all these spices to play together as a team. We don't want one to be louder voice than the other.
Sure.
Really.
So the flavor would almost overtake it, wouldn't it?
It really would. So
And paprika, the other really interesting thing about paprika is that you get color. You get the redness, don't you?
Which is one of the reasons when I chose it, just because it just makes it really nice.
Lovely.
I just think there's nothing worse than an aubergine that hasn't been fried, because it has a lovely golden, crispy casing when that happens. When it's like either grey or it's just white. It just shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. So
well, it looks
lovely, and all we do is we're just going to pop that in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes. And let's say, for example, I'll give you a tip, like here where the pan is like really quite compressed and it's got quite a lot in. Maybe you're going to need 35 minutes, maybe a few minutes more, because they're more likely to sweat in there. That's okay. It wholly depends on the size of aubergines that you get. Don't panic if your pan doesn't look as packed as our pan.
Sure.
It's fine.
Depends on the pan size.
100%.
And, all of that. Shall I pop that in the oven
please,
for you?
that would be great.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Aubergines in the oven. What are we doing next?
So I'm going to start with a sauce, and Malika, I'm so grateful for your help. If you can please slice those onions. Now, I say thinly into half moons.
Fine.
God's honest truth is,
yes,
even if you pulse it in a mixer, do whatever gets this meal cooked.
Good.
But I like that added texture in the dish.
Right.
Okay.
Am I allowed to weep while I'm doing this? Is that okay? That's all like
That's
deeply
wholly up to you.
unprofessional.
I have glasses on, so I have some like mild protection. And then I've got some garlic cloves here. And like, I've written 6 fat garlic cloves. You can put 6 bulbs of garlic if you're anything like me, but just take the whole cloves and just lean on them until they burst a little bit, and then you'll get a lovely mellow garlic. So don't sweat the instructions as verbatim.
Love
you can.
that.
There's always that little bit of flexibility.
Love that. And it just makes it so much easier for us to just take this home and do it.
100%.
Talk me through why we've got garlic, proper garlic, as well as garlic granules.
Garlic granules. You're so good. I was hoping you were going to ask that. Okay. So basically, that's one of the most regular questions I get about garlic granules and why I use them. And the God's honest truth is this. You don't always have garlic. Sometimes if you do, you're too lazy to peel the garlic.
Right.
Garlic granules are long life, stored in the cupboard, cheap and cheerful. They create a far greater intensity of garlic than even fresh garlic does. And they don't burn. So it's a combination of laziness, economy, and actually it's far more useful for contributing a garlic flavor in a rounded capacity into things. So I do use it, but in sauces, usually for recipes, I like using fresh garlic. But for example, on the aubergines, I want something that's not going to burn. And if I put fresh garlic onto there for 30 minutes at 200,
it's just gonna, it's just gonna go, isn't it?
It will
Well,
absolutely
that is
burn.
a top tip. Tell me a little bit more about how, like, do you have any memories of how you started enjoying spices or when you first smelt them? Like, I'm always fascinated with stories of how people just fall in love with them.
I would say for me, my childhood and the reason I actually turned to cooking was really down to two people. One was Ken Hom and the other one was Madhur Jaffrey. So for me, I grew up here in Britain in the 80s and I used to watch them. It was about 1983, maybe even 1982. And I was like, wow, these like, I just was so transfixed. I was born in the late 70s, so I was only very young.
Right.
But for me, I fell in love because of these two people with food.
Love that.
And so Madhur Jaffrey kind of made us, well, I don't know. I don't really know how my family got into it, but we used to go to Southall on Sundays all the time when I was a kid. Street corn, samosas, like Persians, we love food from that region. And I think just like, you know, South Asians love Persian food as well. Like
Very
we're kind
much
of,
so.
we've got a long history with each other as well.
Very
so,
intertwined and actually...
And then Parsis and so many different communities.
And we got our sweet and sour taste all from the Persians,
which we apparently deny that we like. Oh, we don't like that. I'm like, your whole crux of our culture. But certainly dried food, dried fruits and nuts.
Yeah, that all came from Persia.
I'm going to slowly start by cooking the onions.
Perfect.
And my rule of thumb always for oil when you're cooking onions or even when you're starting a stew or a curry or whatever is oil has to cover the base of the pan. You need to have that. Often in our cultures, it's actually like an inch of it at the bottom, but I'm kind of somewhere between. This is a very large pan, so don't go, oh my goodness, what is she doing? But yeah, I think you have to acknowledge that certain things just need oil to cook and they'll be better for it.
They will be much. And listen, there's no shame in that.
A lot of food that is coming into it in the end.
What are we cooking for? About 6 to 8? Is that right?
Well,
today?
if you do it with pasta, it'd be probably even more. So we'll get this hot. I don't want to make it too hot,
right?
But it's because you're not looking to smoke the oil, like, you know what I mean? You just want to get it in when it's ready to sizzle. And it looks a little bit like wavy there.
Okay,
so
just be careful when you're jiggling because Sabrina's obviously a super professional. But
I'm a professional jiggler.
Jiggling
it's
at
like
home,
how I moonlight on the weekends.
Looking
okay. You can hear a sizzle, but you're not looking for like a colossal thundering sizzle because you don't want to brown everything too much. You want it to just be translucent.
Right, okay.
Because browning, burning, the edges are fine, but it will dehydrate it. And then you're going to be tasting something that's, you know, like crispy onions. Crispy onions are nice on top.
They are nice.
They are lovely.
But this is a base, isn't it?
You kind of want it to sort of melt into the pasta dish. We've also got some garlic cloves that we have thinly sliced. And then this is my absolute love.
Talk to us about this. Tell us what it is.
Harissa. So harissa, by any other name, it's a North African chili paste. It's a combination of different chilies with a few subtle spices. It can vary in recipe depending on the brand and whatnot. But if you want it to be punchy, okay? It needs to be punchy, and that means that when you do buy a jar of harissa, you get a lot more value because you can stir it into pasta sauces, you can stir it into stews, you can stir it into yogurts, mayonnaise, salad dressing, marinate meat, marinate tofu. Like, it's just treat it like it's chili. And then you'll get a lot of bang for your buck, and then there's a reason you bought it because you use it.
Sure. And this one is rose harissa, which I thought was really interesting
because
you've got more fragrance.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite subtle, the rose aspect, but more importantly, I think on the market, it's one of the most authentic blends on the market. So at this point, I've got my onions just to translucent point, which is just good for lazy cooking. You know, like it's not like, you know, a lot of recipes want you to like be diligent, brown it, like, as soon as it's nice and translucent, just get the garlic in there. I just give the onions a little bit of a head start because garlic has a tendency to burn.
Do you ever use onion granules? Have you tried that?
I do love onion granules, and I do use them every now and again. To be honest, I haven't prescribed them in any of my recipes before. I don't know why. Maybe because an onion flavour is like achievable in an onion.
Sure,
But
sure.
you know, I should probably. I should be fair.
It's not, I don't know.
It's not an onion prejudiced.
We're not prejudiced. I don't know if you guys, you enjoy your onion granules, but
So I'm going to do a grandma tip.
go and do a grandma tip. I was going to ask you. Yes, very good.
This
very
is how
good.
we open jars. My
Smash.
grandma, who barely cooked, that woman knew how to open a jar.
Can we just confirm that you only bash the lid? You don't actually smash the glass bit of the bottle, yes?
What you're doing is actually bashing the side of the lid, whether on the floor, on a board, something that won't break, and that changes the air structure in the inside of the jar, forcing it to pop open. It's the best tool you have for opening a new jar. Okay?
Very good.
Push. Now, because I'm big on measuring, I'm going
How
to go
much
in
are
with...
we actually adding?
we're adding a tablespoon.
About a tablespoon, okay.
I'd add 2. We're adding a pretty much a heaped tablespoon.
What are we going to say? Harissa is about medium spice. What would you say?
I mean,
Medium heat?
for a lot of people,
Yeah.
harissa is not medium heat. For
No.
a lot of people, it's a lot of spice.
See, sorry, I'm giving my background away here.
That's really, really interesting because it's good for us to show that, because for us, it's like, yeah, that's nothing, no problem. But the great thing about harissa is, and indeed any chili, if you really want to balance it out, like people always ask me, like, I put too much chili in this, and you know, what do I do? You can't really balance chili out or dial it down, but you can introduce sugar, and sugar distracts another part of your palate, which means that you can't taste the chili as much. And then if you add a squeeze of citrus, it balances
Lovely.
it all out.
Also dairy, because dairy, of course, dissolves the proteins.
And it cut the lactic acid as well helps. Like
So-
yogurt is our go-to when we eat
Yogurt.
spicy.
This is why we have
But we
yogurt.
know that in our corner of the world, like that's our go-to. Yogurt,
really
a glass
is.
of milk or
Yeah.
something. But for cooking purposes, yeah. But look what it does.
Look,
It
it's
just
gorgeous.
And also, you know, harissa's really aromatic.
I
which
just
is
love
so
harissa. I put a
lovely.
spoon of it into everything. It's just so good.
It's my favourite salad dressing with yogurt and lime juice and a little dash of olive oil, salt and
Gosh.
pepper.
So now we were also talking beforehand about this idea of measuring your spices.
Yeah.
And for lots of us, it's very instinctive, isn't it? You had a bit of this, you had a
Difficult,
bit of
isn't
that.
it, recipe writing?
So what would you recommend? Do you think people are scared of actually working with spices? And what would your advice be for someone who hasn't maybe grown up with spices running in their veins in the same way?
I think it is. I've noticed certainly over the last 10, 12 years, especially since I started writing books, that I've learnt what people are petrified of. And it really shocked me because I'm like, that's not in my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are really nervous of using spice. And like, you know, sometimes I throw cinnamon into salad dressings and they're like, what?
Love that.
I'm
That's
like,
so clever.
But it's got like oranges in there, so it makes sense. And I said, trust me, you're not going to...
Wow.
Even my mother, she's like, oh, I don't want a cinnamon vinaigrette. And I'm like, wait.
Wait until you've tried
Just wait until
it.
you've had them over toasted almonds and figs and this and that. And
You put spices in cakes and bakes as well, don't you?
I really do, because I'm always trying to think about, A, what's good, top of my priority, but also what makes me a different baker than, let's just say, an icon like Mary Berry or like, you know, Nigella. Like, at the end of the day, I can't just write normal cake recipes like my Middle Eastern style and heritage. Like, I want to do something a little bit different. So I use lots of herbs, I use spice blends, I use individual spices, always to try and make things slightly different and not necessarily elevate them, but give you a new perspective on what you can do with spices. So it's a big deal for me. Spices, I really do use them a lot, and sometimes in food that is not at all spicy, but it's just got flavour.
Because spiced isn't about chili hot. Spice is about flavour, and people confuse that often, don't they? You mentioned
fear it.
They fear it, and the more you use them, the less scared you get of it.
So what
What's
you can
happening?
smell now is just that harissa is really doing all the work. It smells amazing. At that point, once it's released the perfumes, just before you can see, like, some of these are super translucent, but we don't want them to turn and become crispy, especially the garlic. So
Sure.
I'm going to ask you to kindly pass me the passata. And I'm going to get a jar of passata
It's a
in
bit
there.
of bashing as well, this one. Look, we're loving, you're loving this. You're
Quite
really loving it.
satisfying, I have to say. And just
Excellent.
schlep that in.
Okay, so that's about 700.
It is, yeah. Roughly 700. If it's like 20 grams less, like, don't sweat
fine,
it.
it's fine.
And then obviously don't waste the stuff in the jars. I'd get a little bit of water in there, just a tiny bit, and then just give it a good old shake and then empty that into
Let me do
there,
that for you while
please.
you're stirring, and you can demo.
Waste not, want what. It's all flavour and just lightly incorporated. I say lightly because when you add the passata, you'll end up wearing it if you're a bit too slappy.
There you go. And I've not put too much,
lovely.
so...
I'm glad she didn't hand it to me saying it's closed and then,
No,
you know.
definitely
like,
not. And we're not in aprons either. This could be really dangerous.
I'm doing 50s housewife today.
Looking fab while you're at it.
Okay, see that way you've cleaned that jar and then you just give it a rinse, pop it in the recycling. Okay, just going to interrupt this. So I'm just mixing the sauce together so it's nice and even, but also it's time to check our aubergines and we can decide by looking at it whether it needs another 5 minutes.
Good. Shall we get that for
Yes,
you?
please. Thank
I
you.
love how much colour, day glow colour that has in it, because I did have a little sneak peek at the harissa and it has paprika in it as well.
Yes, it does. It's a combination of
yeah.
peppers and chilies, different
Fantastic.
types of chilies. So
What do we think?
I think it's got nice colouring, but also just because there's quite... Actually, I think it's right. Don't be afraid to brown them a little. We've got a few brown on the surface. Most importantly, you just want to... The best way, don't do this at home with fingers that are... Just want to check if it's soft. I don't have asbestos fingers,
these are
and this
great.
is burning. But do it with a spoon. If you can just push a spoon through one piece of aubergine and it just mashes really simply, you're good to go. Okay.
I love that the spices haven't burnt it either, which is a sign that you added just about enough oil.
You need that.
You
You're
need the
so
oil,
right,
so the
Malika. You're
spices don't
so right.
burn.
And this sauce is like giving double bubble trouble right
Okay,
now.
good.
So what we're going to do is just moderate that temperature a little bit because we're
Fine.
not looking for it to start being like
Sure,
a
sure,
volcano and bubbling and splattering. We want
Lovely.
to keep the heat and we want to season it. Now, this is why I haven't seasoned the aubergines, because what happens when you season the aubergines, it will mean that they will excrete more water through the cooking time, more likely to be a sloppy mess in there. I'm thinking I didn't need to season the aubergines because I'm going to season the sauce that they're going to go
Lovely.
into. And I'm going to season it properly. And if you don't know what that means, my best tip for you is salt is going to bring out all the flavours of those spices. And without it in the correct quantity, this won't taste nice.
Don't be
So
afraid, right? to
don't be
add
afraid.
salt.
But if you
Let's go.
are a bit timid and don't know what that is, I would say season generously first, cook it for a few minutes, try it. And then if you think, maybe it needs a bit more, salt needs time and a little bit of
100%.
heat to cook. Okay, so in colder dishes, it develops less
It does,
quickly.
absolutely.
So I'm just going to season this well. There we go. I put about 3 really generous sort of...
Nice.
They're not pinches. They were definitely more than pinches.
They're quite generous. And also people can always taste. You can taste it as you go along to make sure that it's got enough salt, right?
Exactly. And I pepper like pepper is a spice in
Pepper
itself.
as a spice. I mean, pepper is the
literally-
original spice. Yes, it is.
Yep.
The spice route started with pepper.
Did you know that Egyptian soldiers allegedly used to get paid in pepper?
Really? Now, I don't know if I know that, but I have a story about cinnamon. Arab traders, did you hear this? They created a legend about a very special bird building nests with cinnamon sticks that had to be collected specially. And they did that to keep the prices of cinnamon high.
Oh, wow.
And so I co-founded and ran a spice company before, and that was one of the legends, and it kind of kickstarted the whole trade and the kind of legend of cinnamon sticks.
I'm obsessed with the spice trade,
I love
the
it.
silk
I love it
roots,
so
and
much.
all of
It's just
those things.
fascinating,
It's
isn't
also
it?
really funny how they used to use cinnamon, like not just cinnamon as medicine, because even today, my mum takes it for
Yeah.
blood pressure tablets, for reducing blood pressure. Not verbatim, check with your doctor, make
Yes,
sure it's
please.
okay. All of those
This
things.
is not
but
medical advice.
Ancient world, like all these spices, like cumin,
Yeah.
don't know if I can say what cumin was used as.
No, maybe not to camera, but tell me later because it might come handy. And we haven't touched on spices for medicine and health and being, because this is not medical advice, but culturally these things are quite significant, aren't they?
They are, and also they are still those thoughts. This is why I raise them, because those thoughts are still holding our cultures. Now, Western culture is different. A lot of ours is sort of based on tradition and like, you know, what your grandma used to say. But I kind of like that.
I love that. We love a story. We love a memory.
You know, like if something's like, if you've got a cold, put an onion on your head or something.
Yeah,
There's always
exactly.
something so random.
They are quite random.
They
If you
are
start
really
thinking about
random.
it, some of it, and sorry, we're going off now. What do I do with this? Do you want me to?
So, I want you to just quickly look at the sauce. It becomes, in my opinion, that's jammy already.
It is quite jammy.
You just want it to be jammy because watery sauce equals watery pasta
Yes,
or
yes,
watery
yes.
like stew. However you're going to treat this, whatever you want to eat it, you want it to sort of be unctuous and a little bit rich, and it's quickly happened. And then all we are going to do is, first of all, you can taste it. I'm pretty expert with the old salt and and also there's one ingredient I forgot to say, sugar, which we said balances out.
Very good.
You want a heaped, so like a little bit heaped
Nice.
teaspoon of caster sugar, or granulated sugar or brown sugar or whatever you can get your hands on. Even a squirt of honey will do the job. But, you know, you can use whatever you like to sweeten it. It will really balance out the acidity in the tomatoes, but also it plays a part in the flavour with the chili heat in this, okay? And
Love it.
These
Love it.
in here.
Let's go. Okay,
And that's
now I'm going to try and do this.
This is my slide. I absolutely do
What's
the
your
same thing as
dress?
you, girl.
Now, your dress.
It's all right, girl. Don't worry.
This is not going to be the most pretty.
Do you want me to move this over?
Pleasant. You carry that. Yes, you bring that over. And I'm going to try and slide your aubergines in. Oh my goodness, look at this. Dream team,
an
Sabrina.
Expert.
Dream team. How hot is this now?
No mask, no fuss, straight
Done.
in, like,
Done.
and then
Let's
all
go.
you're doing, and this is another reason
that
why
looks
you want to
amazing.
reduce the heat, because you don't want the sauce to be absorbed by those sponges that are the aubergines. But another clever way to evoke a little bit more liquid without adding outside water is to just pop a lid on. If you don't have a lid, you can do a cartouche, which is a square, like a little sheet of baking paper, sort of scrunched up with a hole in the middle that creates a lid. But
Lovely.
essentially, that is your sauce done.
It's fantastic. And of course, the oven would have worked its magic to draw out the moisture.
So there's
of
no
the-
added
so you're
moisture.
not getting so
Yeah.
it's such a
'Cause that's
lovely
what makes it
consistency.
delicious.
It really does.
You know,
This is so
we've all
good.
been victim to bad stews and bad
We have been
curries
very-
not
oh
cooked
gosh.
authentically,
Don't.
but you know, by people making less than. Obviously.
No, but this
and
is-
they're watery. Watery is not a nice texture.
No, this is
You
lovely.
want something rich and unctuous and satisfying, whether you eat meat or not. Honestly, it's the one. It really
Fantastic.
is.
It's looking
That's it.
great. Is that it?
That's it.
That's very good.
Isn't that nice and
That's
simple?
lovely. Can I have a little taste? Am I allowed to like
You
scoop up a
absolutely
little?
can. Let me get
Look,
you a.
Let's.
Have you got a spoon?
Where are they? Here. They're here. So I'd love to have a little taste. If
Go
that's
for
okay,
it.
Sabrina.
Just be careful. You know it's super hot, my lovely. Don't want you to burn your tongue.
Right. Let's see. Let's try this. So this is chef's privilege. Yes. Oh, it's so delicious. Oh my goodness.
And it's just, you can make something like this go such a long way, because let's be honest, that really matters.
Gorgeous.
So when you take something like a pasta and you throw this over pasta, or you serve this with rice, or even if it's cold, you can treat it almost like a jammy,
You
less
can. You
sweet
can stick it
chutney.
on some toast.
Stick it, yeah, exactly,
put it
in
on some
bread or
sourdough.
naan with a bit of feta cheese. There
Lovely.
are so many ways to
Really
use it.
great. And the spices are cooked beautifully.
Thank you very much.
Thank
That's
you.
a huge compliment coming from Spice Queen. I'll
should
take
we,
that.
Should we make some pasta to get this on
Yeah,
and eat?
why not?
Let's
Why
go.
not? We've got pasta ready. We've drained off the water, but we've also done the smart thing. You always just keep back a ladle or two of the pasta water in case you're looking to make your sauce, whatever sauce that is, a little bit more sort of saucy. And because it's got the starch in there, it sort of thickens it. And then we're just going to add the aubergines to the pasta.
Perfect.
like to be generous. We've got quite a lot of pasta in there. It'll feed at least 3 people.
And what about the sauce? Because there will be some left over. Would it freeze well?
100%. This is fresh food. I mean, technically, it's vegan as well.
It is vegan.
There's no contaminants in there. Everything's cooked properly. You can batch freeze it beautifully and
Lovely.
decide what portions work for you, or just freeze it all in one batch. But quite frankly, in an airtight container in the fridge,
It
a
should
week.
last. It should
At
last
least
for a few days.
week,
Yes,
at
100%.
least, yeah. There's nothing in there that you need to
Great.
worry about. I'm going to be generous because, you know, I like it. So we can technically, this is 250 grams of pasta. Technically, this is about 6 to 8 people, so I can afford to do half of
Not in
there.
our homes, it isn't.
I mean, that's
3 to 4, do we think?
all right. Extra scoop just for you. And then you just want to fold it in.
Lovely.
And I'm going to just use a tiny bit of that pasta water. Go slow, less is more. There we go.
It makes it quite silky as well,
It
doesn't
does,
it?
and also
Pasta water.
because the pasta will just drink up the sauce as well. So we want to just give it a little bit of moisture so that you can mix it.
Fabulous.
And then, you know, another trick that I like, this just depends on whether you have it or not, a knob of butter at this point would be, make it really silky, really
Top
creamy.
tip.
Not necessary, but I like it. Failing that, a cheese blanket. Just
Cheese blanket.
great,
Brilliant.
great enough parmesan onto it until you can't see the pasta anymore. Okay, and then we're going to
Good.
serve
And then we're going to
up.
serve up and we're going to taste this. I'm
Yes.
excited
Yes,
to try this.
my queen
Right,
for you.
ready. Yeah.
Right. I can't do that tongy sort of chefy thing.
no, let's go. I'm
let's
gonna
go rough and ready.
help
Wait, I
you.
got to give you lots of aubergines.
Yes.
Because we want that to be the star of the show.
There you go.
And if there's not sauce all over your outfit and all over the plate, have you even done it right?
That's fine.
There you go.
Real life, real
Go
life
for it.
stories.
I'll take a little bit too.
Should we do? Yes. Do you want me to hold that, or
why not?
let me hold this while you do that? Yeah.
You know I'm going to get this all over my dress, right? It's going to happen. It's
Machine
gonna
washable.
happen.
We're good.
I know, right? Prioritize food
Well, when you work
first,
in
laundry
food.
later. There we go.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Good. Happy?
I think for me, Parmesan makes this really special and is an additional touch. You can also use other cheeses that are less expensive. Feta works really nicely. Otherwise, it's just a fabulous way to eat it.
Right. Let's
Let me
give
know what you
this
think.
a
Let me know.
little try.
I'm really confident with this one because
You-
I tried. I
It's so
literally
good.
give this to my mother, and she's the first and most difficult food critic in the country. So
Oh my goodness, the umami in this is unreal. Like the spices, the tangy, the sweet.
you really get the fennel. It just it kind of kicks in, and I think it kind of helps marry what is usually Eastern spices to
It's
maybe a Western
fantastic.
preparation of dish.
I think the addition of fennel is actually very special. Well, Sabrina, what a joy it has been to have you in here. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing all the love, all the spices and your stories.
Thank you.
We are looking forward to trying this at home. And if you've enjoyed watching this, please do come and check us out again. You are going to love what this does for your cooking at home, and you're going to be loving spices so much more than you already do. Thank you for joining us.